Hey Axis and Allies players, good captain here. Welcome to Italy and USA first turn. We'll review the Ottomans and then quickly do Italy, USA. They're the very, very easy powers to push through. So the purchase for the Ottomans is 4 infantry and 1 artillery. Yes, this is a very obvious move even to players who just ripped open this seal on their 1914 and play for the first time. Very obvious to do. Bulgaria. Occupy Bulgaria. Activate those troops. Now you can't move them, but you got them up, so that's good. This is also worth mentioning. Sevastopol almost deserves its own video. I don't think I'll actually do it like that, but Sevastopol is a very key territory to understand. And yeah, I think I'm of the opinion if the Entente wants this, get it on the first turn so that it can produce for you. I'm sorry, if the CP wants this, get it on the first turn so it can start producing for you. Otherwise, I'd like to leave it Russian almost permanently, and I'll go into why later. But so what he's done here is sent two attackers into Sevastopol. No artillery. And 2-2 attackers has a 55.5% chance of securing a kill. So there's just over a 50% chance of actually taking and holding the territory because the Russians only have 1 unit on defense even if they get a hit. That's the raw percentages of it. So you might be thinking, well, that's not a guarantee. If you want the IPCs, you should go in there with an artillery and boost that up. Yeah, that's true, but there's this. You are in a dead zone, so the Russians do have the option of crushing that rather vital piece, the core unit piece of an artillery. Is it really worth it in that case? Most of the time I say not, and I think Rag kind of agrees. So anyway, in this situation, he sent in 2 infantry against the fellow in Sevastopol with the at least, even let's say he completely whiffs and the Russians hit. What has happened is it has created a contested zone. So Russia has to commit or attack at a disadvantage or commit more troops in order to secure that 3 IPCs because a contested zone serves no one. So it's an easy way to reduce the IPCs even if it doesn't work out in the capturing of it. So reducing Russian IPCs is always a good thing. He attacks Arabia, which is British, but deactivated British troops. Basically, we have to go in there to activate them. And then he kind of fidgets around here. Yeah, all right. So, this will be fun to talk about in the Ottoman video of the 1914 series. But I really actually kind of like the Ottomans. They're if you have a friend who's like defensive minded, this is kind of a fun one to crack. The terrain is kind of neat. It provides defensive options. There's basically this X. There's like a X marks the spot from Ankara to Arabia and Smyrna to Mesopotamia is a 3 territory up and down, and this means you can sort of it's a defensive tic-tac-toe board that kind of helps the Ottomans, but again, that's topic for another video. Okay, so the Ottomans attack in Arabia, and they roll slightly up, but anyway, they hit what they needed to hit, and this is all very par, exchange of forces there, whatever. Sevastopol, the Ottomans miss the 55% chance they miss it, and the Russians nuke. Okay, all right, so he spikes the territory. I don't know what I'm going to do as the Russians exactly, but I'm probably not going to send assets down there, but we'll see. Battle in Sea Zone 20. He attacks with 2 cruisers against my 1. He whiffs the round, and the Russians hit. So really nothing, no naval battles are going. Okay, the Ottomans hit and the Russians hit, and that's why there's nothing there. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, that's a fairly. I mean, I guess it ended the even if it didn't. Even sending those two in there, losing one, seems like he'd have the edge. But nobody having any cruisers in this area of the board is not a totally uncommon thing to happen, or to have happened prior to the Italian turn. But I don't know. I usually like to send a, maybe maybe pass on combat in that zone, and you can still move out of it. So, you could split the cruisers up, send one into the C zone to spike the Italian and French transports, because now I'm going to do something, because there's no enemy boats. The Med's essentially secured except for this transport, and of course the Germans have the option to send these subs in here, but I'm going to put a stop to all that, I think, right now, given how poor the rules have been for the CP. Let's carry on. So it's all infantry for the Italians. Remember, I'm only feel incentivized to purchase anything other than infantry unless I'm the UK. So Italian combat move. We have to do everything all at once. So I'm actually going to move this whole fleet over here to protect my blunder. My blunder is French transport. Because there's no Ottoman. I mean, it's also protected by a French battleship, but it helps. So then we take all four of these Italians that were just activated by the French in Albania. We're going to load the artillery and infantry onto the Italian transport and immediately flip. And these two are going to load the French transport. Voila. Okay. Neat little trick that I didn't invent. I just copied that from some other clever Entente players that I've played against. And everybody else shoves into Venice. There were other options. I don't want to go over everything the Italians could have done, can do. Again, that's not what I'm trying to do with this video series, but perhaps in the Italian video we'll go over some other options. But okay, and then everybody kind of pushes up towards Egypt over here. So that's it. But I think the main thing I wanted to demonstrate was, pulling those troops out of Albania. And the whole idea is to just funnel every warm body into Venice. We just need bodies up there, and to try to hold back what's about to hit us. And there were other options, more aggressive options, but I chose this. Okay, so let's done out. Place the units. And here's my USA strategy. Ready? Actually, yeah. Nothing, 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 nothing. So this isn't Global 40. There's not two enemies on two sides of the ocean. We have one. The enemy is, the direction of the enemy is one way. So, yes, he could attack the American fleet with his two submarines. He'd have to declare war before doing so, so he'd run a minefield and then run into a battleship and a cruiser, so that's just not going to happen. It wouldn't be to his benefit to have the Americans enter the war early either, so it's just not going to happen. So I'll save my money until I see exactly what I need to do. Just best practices. Very small point, but anyway. Yeah, we can call this the end of round one. So just to recap, the board state is already changed quite a bit in the middle here. The Central Powers are truly about to become the Central Powers, with one of the last Allied states here falling, Entente states here falling, and Albania on the chopping block. The CP Navy has been reduced and is nearly wiped out. And yeah, not a whole lot to write about. So yeah, I'll just put a pin in it here. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching. All the best. Bye-bye.